why don't we go around and just talk about what's been something so far this year that you've really enjoyed, whether it's a player, a performance, something that has been really kind of inspiring. I know, like, Brad, you had something about like Michael Pierce and and you can talk about that or not, but it could be a moment. Who would like to start? Would anyone like to start here?
I can just, I don't necessarily have a specific player, but I'm going to say, and I guess this might be a cop out, the unexpected heroes who have stepped up, like the Brandon Stevens.
Cop out.
Yep. I'll give a name then. I think Brandon Stevens has been my favorite just guy this year. You went from a running back at UCLA, I think at this point it's 4 or 5 years ago, to now he is one of the best players on the league's best defense. And just every time you see his confidence grow, and I love everything that he's kind of grown into and like becoming a leader for the team.
I agree with you. I think honestly, when you look at it so far this season, especially with Marlon Humphrey being out and everyone was wondering about, well, wait a minute, the secondary, and it felt like over the years, hasn't the secondary been the position that's been decimated the most? And everyone's like, oh no, what's going to happen? And then Brandon Stevens, and it really, you could sense it week by week, the confidence, but then he started getting recognition. So I like that one. That was great. Who was brave enough to go next?
I got two here.
Yes.
My first one is Justice Hill, because Justice, former Achilles guy, just like me. So as a guy who tore my Achilles, I've leaned on him a lot through this process, talked with him a bunch, and seeing him out on the field doing the things that he's doing is really inspiring to me and makes me feel good that, you know, maybe I'm going to be able to come back and bounce back and do that thing. Cause that is a scary part of having this type of injury. You have the thoughts of like, am I ever going to be able to make a cut or jump or run or do anything like that again? So when you get a guy like Justice Hill, who's playing really good football, one of our best running backs, extremely explosive, does a lot of stuff on special teams. I really like where he's at. And for me personally, I love watching him play. My second guy is Geno Smith. I got a soft spot for Geno. He's PP on the punt team.
Geno Stone.
Geno Stone. Sorry, I don't know.
It's all right. Zach did it last week.
It's okay. Only reason we know is because I did it twice last week.
Okay, Geno Stone. I apologize, Geno. Geno is one of my buddies. We came in here together. We got here in 2020. We've worked very closely over the last 4 years, in the weight room and on the practice field. And now the last 2 seasons, he kind of took over on the punt team as a PP, which for those of you who don't know is kind of the quarterback of the punt team, kind of calls the play and operates or runs the operation. To see him step up this year, lead the team in interceptions, and make a huge impact on our defense and become one of our best players for a guy who most people probably looked at as, oh, he's just a special teams guy. I think he played a lot last season. And then this year, he's kind of showed that he's more than special teams and that he's going to be a standout defensive player in the NFL for a long time coming. I just hope it's still here with the Ravens. And, I love both of these guys, and I think they're outstanding players.
Yeah, if you just want to let Justice know that maybe some people have money on him getting in the end zone 3 times on
3 times.
Yeah, I had a dream that he did it, so I had to put $5 on it.
What's the payout?
$900.
That's a fair $5 loss.
I was sitting there, I had the dream, and I was like, well, what is the payout? And I saw it, and I was like, I've spent $5.
His tough part is Gus the bus, man.
I know.
Gus is our touchdown machine.
I'm not gonna lie. In the dream, I'm talking like this was 20 yards out. Homeboy was getting squiggly, and
that's what he did. He's so good at that. Yeah. So I hope he gets 3 touchdowns too.
Thank you.
I think every Ravens fan would love that, and then Zach would like it even more. It'd be a win-win for Zach on a few ways.
Hill would be going crazy.
Yes, it would. And also just to wrap that in right there too, what I love is. That was the name. Was anyone really talking about Justice Hill going into the season or Geno Stone?
They were talking about if he would make the team.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's my point, is that I love that you gave recognition to those guys. And this was kind of the point of it. The stars get the credit like they should, right?
Yep.
But these are guys that make the season when you look back and go, man, they made huge impacts. The running back room gets hurt. J.K. Dobbins going down. What's going to happen? Gus has played great. Oh, why is Justice Hill on the field? Well, guess what? Because Justice can make plays. And he took that opportunity and he stabilized it behind Gus and his role. And that's helped the Ravens out tremendously. And Geno Stone speaks for itself. What a season it's been for him. So I hope both stay Ravens for as long as they can, but it's a business. Who's up next? I know Rocco's doing his work. Kevin?
I'll take it. And one more point about Gino too, and this is something that not a lot of, or maybe some people do, but not a lot of people remember, is Gino was cut twice his rookie season. And he latched on with Houston for the final part of his rookie year, and then the Ravens brought him back. And it's just another kind of point in his story where he goes through this, he comes back and he works to become the player he is today. And it is super well deserved and well earned for Gino 100%.
I totally forgot about Houston.
Yeah. People, I put that graphic on. People think I photoshopped it because
I remember he was gone. I was like, "Where's Gino?"
Yeah, right.
I had no clue that he wasn't there.
Wait a minute. So when did you realize? Were you like sitting in like the cafeteria? You're like in the locker room. I could see like maybe you're like a little.
No, we were
Picturing you looking around at me like, wait a second. You're like in Houston.
It happens sometimes. Okay. We're both in rookies 2020. I'm on P squad. He was kind of up and down, doing a little bit of both. And you just like sometimes people just aren't there. It in 2020, especially because there was COVID. There was so much there was so many guys coming in, coming out, doing because of COVID, it was just crazy. And so like there's so much turnover that you're just not, and you're like getting used to knowing people. And by the time it was probably like a week, I was like, "Where's Gino?" And they were like, "Oh, he got picked up by Houston." I was like, "Oh, my bad."
Just like a wait, something feels different here. Like
it happens, dude. It happens, especially like, just this year. I've just not been able to pay attention as much. But even, practice squad guys, there's constant. In my first 2 years here, we had so many guys coming in the door. We had so many injuries, especially on offense with tight ends and running backs and all that stuff between 2020 and 2021. It's hard to keep up with who's in and who's out. And that's just the reality of the NFL.
I'll give you that. It was
revolving
2020 and that, I didn't think, but that was the way you said,
I honestly didn't forget all about it.
It's like 2 weeks in, Gino finally is like settled in Houston. He's getting a text from Nick Moore. Go be great, brother.
Yes. Glad he's back on our team, though. Glad he's back here.
I'm glad I called that guy. Glad that guy's in Baltimore.
So if he would have just came back without you noticing, you probably would have been like, wow, he just really skipped like 4 weeks of the season. No one's going to yell at him.
Went on vacation, just pulled a Dennis Rodman.
Crazier things have happened in my time here.
Whoa, we'll have to wait for that one. Kevin, have you said a player yet?
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
No, I'm glad we got that story out. But speaking of that 2020 season, I think Patrick Queen's been such a cool story. I mean, that 2020 year, Nick, I know you can attest to it, with the virtual workouts and, coming in and everything being so weird for that rookie class. We're kind of seeing that whole class now with Patrick Queen and Justin Madubuike and Gino and all these guys. We knew they had potential coming in. But with Patrick, I think it was a little bit of, him just learning the game a little bit. And he was a good player still, but there was some ups and there were some downs over the first couple years of his career. And then we've just seen this just upward trajectory. Really, last year's when it started, the upward trajectory of him where we saw the flashes his first couple of seasons. And it's kind of all come together for him into him playing next to Roquan. And Roquan came in, he helped the entire defense. There's this narrative out there that Roquan elevated Patrick Queen. Patrick was playing really well before Roquan came in the first place. So those two have fit really well together. And for all the flack he got, whether it was on social media or just some other people, some of it was very undeserved, by the way. Patrick has come in and really become this guy who I think is going to be a very popular name come free agency. He's been a very popular name here in Baltimore. Without him, I mean, there's a lot that you can talk about, all these players in the Ravens defense stepping up. Patrick's been a really good story in Baltimore, and where he is from where he was his rookie season to where he is now, it's night and day. And sometimes it just takes a little time to get acclimated, and it takes longer for some than others. We saw the flashes again, those first couple of seasons. Now it's all come together for him. It's really cool for me.
I think you brought up a great point there. I think everyone has this idea, right, that you come into the league, you got to be a superstar right now. You got to, because guys like Micah Parsons are going out there on the defensive side, and you're like, why the hell were you in college for so long, right? And that's a big part. Not everyone is ready. And for Patrick Queen, great year for LSU that in the championship year. But that's still a huge adjustment for a guy that hadn't played a lot at that position.
It is. And I think you talk about expectations. I mean, who is the first round linebacker we were talking about 30 minutes earlier? Ray Lewis. And expectations of, oh, well, Ray was this first round linebacker. And did anybody expect Patrick Queen, to come in and immediately be Ray Lewis? I don't think that, that's something that I don't think people were. But it's, oh, well, this linebacker we drafted in the first round turned into this guy. So all of a sudden, Patrick Queen has to be this guy from the start, and that just wasn't fair to him.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing the player Patrick Queen can be, and I think it's perfect what the Ravens want to do on defense. And especially, I talked about it where if you put him on a team that was, maybe rebuilding, like I don't remember who was at the time, but I think there would be more error to make mistakes and say, hey, you can play through this mistake. But since the Ravens were competing when they brought him in, it was, well, you can't do this. And I know he's talked about that game he played against Kansas City, his second ever game, where he struggled in that game, but he learned from it. I think it's really come together for him too, where the expectations for him should have never been, this great all-time linebacker the first game he played in the league, right? You had to work up to it, and I think he's turned into just the player the Ravens need right now.
No doubt about it. Brad, you got something for me?
Yeah, so mine's probably, I don't know, a little bit off the beaten path, but I don't feel like it gets talked about enough, and that's just Eric DeCosta, the way that he's put this team together. Just being able to find the talent. Kyle Van Noy was sitting on his couch dicking around with Pat McAfee the first half of the season, brings him in, and Jadeveon Clowney actually said it late or earlier last week or a week before, just talking about like how he was able to bring all these people in to basically make a monster team. And so I know that like Eric had gotten a lot of criticism, especially for like the, being able to draft wide receivers or getting a wide receiver on the team. But I think that this year has just been the year where he's kind of put it all together and it's all gelled and really made the best team that he's had since taking over for Ozzie. I think it's been pretty awesome.
No doubt about it.
I couldn't agree more with that one.
Yeah. I think Eric, everyone wants someone to blame, right? It's going to be either the quarterback of the team, the head coach, the coaching staff, the GM. You made the wrong choices. For the majority of the time that Eric DeCosta has been the Ravens GM, he has made a lot of right choices, and sometimes it needs time to flourish.
Oh, yeah. Just look at the Lamar, contract. I believe John Harbaugh was on Adam Schefter's podcast earlier this week, and he had been asked about it, and he was like, Lamar's my guy. Was always my guy. There was never any doubt that they weren't going to get that deal done. Everybody else was worried about it. Obviously, they let Lamar kind of do his thing, but there was never any wavering. And so, like from that point on, it was just awesome to kind of see it all come together, kind of at the hands of Eric and John.
And to John's credit there, that entire time he was true to that exact thing. The whole time it was Lamar's the guy, Lamar's my quarterback, Lamar's our quarterback. He never wavered from it. And obviously
that's been a constant since I've been on the team. So I don't think that's going anywhere.
No,
I think he's the guy for Baltimore.
I hope not. I hope none of them are going anywhere for a while. Rock, I know you might have had yours stolen away. Are you back there still, bud?
Yeah, he's back.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
so I think Kevin
got the payback.
Did I do it? Oh, I didn't.
Zach's question. Oh yeah, I was gonna.
I got revenge for you, Zach. I got revenge,
Kevin. Thank you, Kevin.
About getting his fifth-year option declined, coming to work every day, embodying everything that it means to be a Raven. But you know what? Kevin took that from me. So
I actually wasn't going to say him at first. It was a last-second decision for me.
You got to pick someone else, Rocco.
All right, man. Yeah, I got to pick someone else now. Or I could be like,
go ahead, Rock.
There's plenty of other guys.
Nick, you pick two people.
There's an entire 53-man roster.
I had perfectly good reasons to pick.
That's fair. That's fair.
There
All
are
right.
48 guys remaining.
Mine, anyway, mine, since we're talking about Eric DeCosta and hitting on draft picks, is Kyle Hamilton. And year 2 for Kyle Hamilton has just been, everything you could have asked for, taking him with the 14th overall pick last season. And people are like, damn, this dude really fell to the Ravens, a lot of analysts and experts. And then you go to the first stadium practice for the Ravens, and he gets torched on a one-on-one by undrafted wide receiver Bailey Gaither. I believe that was his name. And he took Kyle Hamilton for a touchdown. And I'd love to ask Kyle Hamilton about that, a year from now, just saying that moment, seeing everything on social media, how crazy was that in your life? Because Ravens fans and football fans were calling this guy out. This is what we got. This is really what we got. You know what you got in Kyle Hamilton? You got a first team All-Pro. You got a Pro Bowler. You got someone who is an absolute Swiss Army knife, who Jadeveon Clowney calls the Avatar because how he's built. He's a guy, Nick, you called him the most athletic player on the team. If you were building a team, Kyle Hamilton's the guy that you would pick because of how athletic he is. This guy does all the right things on the field. He's super athletic, and he's everything that Ravens fans would want in a football player. The way he's able to line up at the line of scrimmage and sack a quarterback, to covering tight ends, to covering deep in the secondary. I mean, Kyle Hamilton is a true Swiss Army knife. And shout out to Eric DaCosta for getting Kyle Hamilton here in Baltimore, him falling to 14. I mean, the dude is generational, and he is going to be a Ravens favorite for years and years to come.
I can't agree more. Kyle Hamilton, again, I think fair to say, guys, here that the Ravens on the defensive side, they were missing the guy that'd be the hammer, and they had that playmaker in the secondary. Well, guess what? That one, who I'm referring to is Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, obviously. But who do the Ravens have now? Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton. Different type of playmaker that Kyle Hamilton is, but a guy that can really still do it all. And that's something that's been so damn fun to watch. All right, I'm going to do mine real quick here. And I think it's just I appreciate the boys in the trenches, okay? And there's a few of them, but I want to start first on Matt Abike's gotten his flowers, rightfully so. I think people in Baltimore knew he was going to take off. But I'm going to go the offensive line here. How about Kevin Zeitler? How about Tyler Linderbaum? How about two guys right up front there that do the dirty work constantly over? And Zeitler, this is his chance right here. This is an opportunity. Doesn't get the recognition for Pro Bowls. Doesn't get the recognition about being one of the best guards in the game, right? And all he's done has been a stable force for Lamar Jackson, which people don't talk about. Then you have Tyler Linderbaum that stepped in and has been really that anchor of that offensive line. I don't think they get talked about enough. There are so many, like, that's the thing. This is why I wanted to do this. There's so many players that we're not even talking about right now, but guys that never get the credit are guys like Zeitler and Linderbaum, and they've been balling out. Did you see when Lamar Jackson scored his touchdown 2 on the run? Linderbaum's hauling ass down the field on
Oh baby, dude! I said something to him on Monday when I saw him the first time I saw him after that game. I was like, I saw you out there, dude. I saw you. I was like, you totally missed him, but you got him just enough to make him run around you. But you look like an athlete. And he was like, yeah, dude, Lamar just told me to run straight at the guy and he'll figure it out. That's basically what he did. That's exactly what happened. So, but I love both those guys, man. Kevin and Tyler. Tyler in his second year, another first rounder, unbelievable talent, going to be, Jason Kelsey-esque. He's going to be one of the best centers. And Kevin is just a statue. He's just an absolute beast at guard, has been a staple in the NFL for a long time. And he does not get the credit he deserves. He's an unbelievable talent. And, I'm just glad he's here, and I love the guy.
Not only are we starting a Nick Moore Pro Bowl agenda next year, we're doing Kevin Zeitler
Kevin
as well.
Zeitler he has to get a Pro Bowl.
At some
Yeah,
point.
did his wife say something about, like, we put that clip about Kevin Zeitler, and his wife like, I don't know, reposted it or commented?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's ridiculous. They just never
there's got to be a conspiracy.
It has to.
Yeah,
like,
I remember.
It's like they're intentionally holding him out. They're like, yeah, let's just see how long we can do this before people realize
they're like,
we're holding Kevin out of the Pro Bowl.
they're like laughing. They're like, what? We're gonna put him in instead. They're like all laughing around.
He wins the vote. Someone's like, nah, that's wrong. Switch the names real quick.
Hits the little delete key on the thing. Everyone's like snickering around the computer. They're like, oh, he's gonna love this.
I mean, how is he not in the Pro Bowl?
It's unreal.
I just don't understand it.
But you know what? I think he'll settle, guys, if the Ravens.
I mean, Kevin's a guy who all he wants to do is win football games and win a Super Bowl. So